Hey, good morning. Welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, I'm looking at Facebook as I usually do. Good, bad. What is it? The good, bad and the ugly. This morning my little shop was that I forwarded on to my friend Alvin, who also lives in the Philippines. Right? So I'm forwarding on a link that I got, and the link that I got I was able to open up, which was quite unusual because we have very weak signal, and very often I'll get a message and a link and I won't be able to open it up, or it gives a video and I literally will not have enough signal, if that's the correct way of putting it, to view the video. Well, I was able to view this video in particular, and it seemed to me something that was well worth sending on to friends. And what it was, you may have seen that video. It was a series of pictures of President Trump and his family, which are not normally seen. And they're not normally seen because they didn't quite fit the narrative that the media have going at the moment for President Trump. Every time you see a picture of President Trump, and this is not about the ongoing situation of Trump, Biden, who is right, who's wrong, who's a liar, who's not. It's not about that. It's about the fact that the media can manipulate the narrative so that it fits what they want it to fit. What's often overlooked as far as the media goes, what's often overlooked is the fact that the media is run as a business, and why on the basis of that would we consider that they will have their own agenda? Now if you go into a supermarket, they're in business. Yes, they want you to be fed and they want you to be healthy, but they're going to put up potato chips and I don't know, stuffed chocolate bars and boiled candies which will rot your teeth. They're in business, all right. So much as they would love to see you healthy so that you can come back and buy more stuff, they're in business, and we're not surprised when they sell things which are not always healthy for us. Cigarette companies are in business and they're not there to take care of you. Who will take care of you? You will. The responsibility for our safety is all down to us. If I know that the area that I'm about to walk through, drive through, is not safe for me, then it's my responsibility to not go there. I remember many years ago, having read so much about America, I finally got to go on a first trip to New York, and when I got there, because at that time I was a professional musician, a trombonist, and I loved modern jazz. I loved jazz overall, and to me jazz was born in places like New York in America. So for me it was a case of a historical pilgrimage to be able to go to different places. And one of the places I wanted to go was, I wanted my friend that I was staying with, can we do a drive-through of Harlem? No, he was not up for that. He said, you know, the people of Harlem was at that time considered a slum. It was a slum at one time. I'm not saying that from a place of altitude, because I came from the slums of Manchester. So, hey, and that's where I'm from. So it was not a big thing for me. I wanted to see the places that I'd read about. No, he said, that's not a good idea. Why not? Because the people that are there living in those kinds of that level of slum are not actually that fond of having sightseers look at them. I can remember when I was in LA, I passed some terrible shots that I could have taken with my camera, of people who were homeless, and they're not happy to have spectators, onlookers, looking at them from as if they're an object. So there are some things that we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Now, there's a huge difference in the level of responsibility that people take for themselves in the Philippines compared to, say, America. Now, Americans who don't want to see so much regulation will call America it's the creation of the nanny state, and the media will always highlight those things which are of interest to them. And a lot of the time, when you can keep from the viewpoint of the media, if newspapers and TV shows and all of this, if they can keep us in a feeling of fear, if the emotion that we spend so much time in is fear, then everything that they actually post, is going to be with an agenda, a secret or hidden agenda of fear. Because if you can tell people that it's not safe to go out of their homes, then that's the emphasis that will be on the news reports, home invasions, people being broken into, people being murdered. All of this is stuff that is of great interest to people. And the reason I'm talking about this now is because I saw a post by a foreigner who was not bemoaning but pointing out the difference between one piece of news compared to another. And of course it's another video for me to do, but right now there's a great deal of attention is being given to the terrible news of the flight attendant who was raped and murdered. But that's another video as to how we should handle that from my own viewpoint. But he was making the point that he actually witnessed at least the aftermath of a murder of a simple vendor on the street, somebody selling fish, and got murdered, and he viewed the terrible damage to the body of that person who was murdered, and his description was graphic, that the blood ran on the street along with the fish that were spilled, and he did a good job of making it as terrible as it must have been. And his point was that that should be as important as the flight attendant. Well, of course it is as important. It's as important as those around who are affected will be affected by it. So friends and family are all going to be devastated by the murder of anybody. The thing about why it's more interesting to read about or to view a video about the news of a flight attendant who was beautiful and successful, a successful life, and she had booked a hotel room and had invited a lot of friends to celebrate something or other with her. Now, why is that more important? Because it is. You know how many... Look at it this way, when you watch an ad, when you watch a commercial for, say, toothpaste, do they show you a model who is not a beauty and has broken teeth? No. Would you prefer to watch that video or that commercial compared to a stunningly beautiful woman or man who has perfect teeth, and they're brushing and they're advertising one of the toothpaste companies? No, they'll get you to look at beauty. Sex sells, so they'll get you to look at that simply by making the images that you look at pleasant for you, that you will get something out of, whatever your particular interest is. If you actually look at it, while we're on that subject, when they advertise, they do a commercial for toothpaste. Have you noticed? If you haven't noticed already, pay some attention of the next time that you see an ad for toothpaste. They're brushing away and doing this, and there's no toothpaste on the brush that they use to brush their teeth. And yet they're advertising toothpaste. So reality can go right out the window whenever you talk about what the media are doing. Right now we're only allowed to see certain things. I sent what was a group of pictures of President Trump and his family, happy, smiling, beautiful. Trump and his, let's face it, drop-dead, gorgeous First Lady, and himself looking handsome and hair as beautiful as ever. Do they show those pictures? No, they don't, because it doesn't suit them and they're in business. But I tried to send those pictures to my friend, and it came back blocked. It said blocked. Well, my first thought, because I'm thinking reasonably, my first thought is that my friend Alvin had in some way become offended by my sending that to him. So I immediately sent a message and I told him, look, I sent you something that was pictures of the Trump family, all beautiful, nothing offensive, all wonderful pictures. And it came back with the message blocked. Was it blocked by you or by Facebook? He responded immediately and said it wasn't me, it would have been Facebook. Now, so there's a situation of I'm trying to share something which is actually feel good, nothing to do with fear, something that actually shows a beautiful family. And let's face it, you know, all of the women of that family are beautiful and the men are good looking and the kids are lovely, and there's loads of kids and we never see any of that. And there's Facebook are blocking me from sending that to someone else, and they, who knows, they might block this video right now. So we're really talking about our view of the world is being manipulated by secretly, because we're not really aware of it, are we? And it's being manipulated so that we think in a certain way. Now, prior to seeing those photographs, because I'm not a great watcher of television, I never ever watched President Trump's that thing that he put on, say, I don't even know the title of it, but he had The Apprentice, and I never watched it because it's just not my thing. So I don't have a lot of images of Donald Trump to look at in my head. So seeing these particular groups of pictures, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how beautiful his wife is, how beautiful his daughter is, his grandchildren. They're all just, and that's something that I would take pleasure in looking at, and yet it's been censored. So prior to seeing that and trying to pass it, I passed it on to 3 or 4 other people, but for some reason they must be watching a link between me and my friend Alvin, and it was blocked. So here's where my view of the world is being changed by the powers that be, and the powers that be are not elected. You know, the man who owns Facebook is not an elected person. I don't agree for him to censor something that I am trying to message. He's been made an unbelievably wealthy man by putting on Facebook and offering that as a service. And the service doesn't come with conditions. Well, it comes with supposedly with limited conditions. But even those are actually crazy as well, because here he is censoring something that is a group of family pictures, and yet there are all kinds of other stuff that I see occasional videos which come through which I refuse to watch because they're obviously really bad news, and all you can do is feel terrible if you watch them. So, but they're getting through, and yet these other things which don't fit the narrative are not getting through. So you must be, it's as well to be aware of that, so that when you go on and you see other stuff which the narrative would have you believe is all about conspiracy and wackos and people who don't know what they're talking about and are crazy or this or that, it's as well to know that these are different viewpoints that you are not normally allowed to see. And bear that in mind when you make judgments about people and situations. I've talked enough on this, but hope it makes you look at things even slightly differently, or at least don't, as I've said before, don't disbelieve. The thing is, when you get something sent through to you, don't disbelieve it. Now, if you don't disbelieve it, at least you are open to looking at it and then using analytical thought in order to arrive at some kind of decision or conclusion about that, whatever the subject is of the video you've been sent. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and let's hope that whatever happens today, this is historically an extremely important day in the lives of more people than realize it. This is what is going to happen in the next weeks, is going to impact the world. There's a lot going on. Stay safe. Bye for now.